My name is Kent Hovind. I taught high school science for 15 years, and now for 16 years I've been an evangelist doing seminars on creation, evolution, and dinosaurs. And I tell people right up front that I believe the Bible is the infallible, inspired, inerrant Word of the living God. I believe it from cover to cover. I even believe the cover on mine. It says Kent Hovind. And for those that don't know, the Bible is your basic instructions before leaving Earth. You really ought to read the book because you're going to be gone for an awfully long time. I mean, when you leave here, there ain't no coming back, so make sure you're going to the right spot.
Okay, who's on the phone there, John?
We've got Jared on the phone.
Jared?
Yep. Yes.
Yes, Jared, go ahead.
Hey, Kent. It's been a while.
No, you never got your own program yet, did you?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just don't have the time or the money.
And you didn't get converted yet either?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not as far as I can tell.
Hey, we're going to work on that. We will never give up until you die. Then we have to give up at that point.
Wonderful. Okay. You threw out about 8 or 10 things that I really got upset at just now.
Oh no. We would never want to. We don't want to do that to anybody. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So one of these is about Michael Shermer. Now, I happen to be a fan of Michael Shermer, and the characterization of his sort of deconversion I found pretty cartoon-like. If you read the book, How We Believe, Science, Skepticism, and the Search for God by Michael Shermer, he lays out on the first 10 pages how he kind of went through his deconversion from Christianity to skepticism.
Okay.
And it wasn't like how you characterized it at all. He wasn't just a Christian that met a particular professor, and the professor told him that he could, get away from God via evolution and just decided to deconvert. He lays out explicitly the problems that he had the whole time that he was a Christian. And he talks about how he just kind of ignored them for a while, like Christians always do, you know.
Well,
and then he talks about this particular book that, let's see, what is this? I think Lindsay wrote it. The Late Great Planet Earth.
By Hal Lindsey?
Yeah. So Shermer's talking about that book and how great he thinks it was. And a professor, Richard Hardison, was a professor that Shermer knew, and he gave the book, or he told Hardison to read it. And that's what happened. Hardison came back and rebutted that book, and that's what propelled Shermer on his way. It wasn't about evolution, and it wasn't about really even God. It was about a particular way of thinking that Shermer had fallen into, and his professor had exposed to him what was wrong with his thinking.
Well, it may be true that there are errors in Hal Lindsey's characterization of end times, okay? I think there probably are problems with a variety of people's, Christians' belief about end times and what's going to happen. However, I asked Michael Shermer in the debate, you can watch it for yourself.
I have watched it many, many times.
I'm trying to take that back. I think it was before the debate, or after the debate, he and I were talking. But I asked him, is it a coincidence that at this time, this was, freshman year in college, you're going through hormone rage like everybody is at that time, and you're looking for a way to get rid of God anyway? He said, I don't know if I'd say that. I said, I know you wouldn't say that, but, would you consider that as a possibility? This is when many, many people do abandon Christianity the freshman or sophomore year in college.
Yeah, there's a problem with that analogy, Kent.
What is that?
Correlation versus causation.
Well, you're right. It may not, just because the sun comes up doesn't mean that's why trees are green,
That's not what I mean. Whenever people go to college, they start thinking in many different ways than they had prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about whether they believe in God or not. They go through all kinds of changes in their life. And yeah, you might have a point about how that's when people, change the way they think about God. But it doesn't mean that that's why they change the way they think about God.
Well, you don't think the fact that their drive to be immoral may have any correlation with this at all? It's purely just scientific. Oh, wow, we evolved. I'm an animal, therefore I can act like an animal and go party. There's no connection, you don't think?
I do not say there's no connection. That's why I'm saying it's correlation versus causation. I just don't think that it causes that. So for some people it might. I know in my case it didn't.
Okay, well, Julian Huxley, the founder of UNESCO and Thomas Huxley's grandson, and cousin of Aldous Huxley, the famous one, started the drug movement in the 60s and told everybody to take LSD to expand your mind. Julian Huxley said, Julian Huxley said, or Aldous Huxley, I got him confused now. I got the quotes over my computer. I think it was Julian. He said the reason we leapt at origin of species was the idea of God interfered with our sexual mores.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this, yeah.
Yeah, that's my quote. I give the reference for the quote on video number 4.
Yeah, but just because he says it doesn't mean other people are the same way.
Oh, that's correct. You're right. Many people do reject creation and accept evolution because they think they have seen the light and found scientific evidence for evolution. They may have
and there are many Christians who believe in evolution as well.
Sure. And there are probably many orders of magnitude more who go the other direction and accept Christianity. I mean, there are millions of folks who would claim the Bible is literally true. The last, I believe it was U.S. News and World Report in late 2003 or early 2004, did a survey and said now 57% of the population of the United States believes the Earth is less than 10,000 years old and God made it.
Right. Are you arguing from appeal to population?
Am I what now?
Are you appealing to arguing from what people think in general?
No, I'm pointing out that in spite of 40 years of intensive propaganda in the schools to teach one theory only, it's not working. The people aren't buying it.
Oh, how about the intensive propaganda put out by all different kinds of religions at the same time?
I know. If they would all just listen to me and become Baptists, we could solve all this problem.
Oh, that's awesome. I think the Methodists and the Pentecostals, et cetera, would have something to say about that.
I used to be a Methodist, but if you keep reading your Bible, you can be a Baptist. That's the way it works.
I think if you keep reading your Bible, you'll be an atheist like me.
I used to be Pentecostal too, so.
Did really?
Yeah, that's what
Did you roll on the floor and speak in tongues?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Bark like a dog.
I'm glad you escaped that, Jonathan.
Me too. Actually, well, completely different subject, but if you ever go to a Pentecostal church, ask them to speak or preach a sermon about speaking in tongues and see how, I guess, materialist it is. There's absolutely nothing to it.
You mean to justify it based on the New Testament writings?
Justified on anything, which is completely out, off the topic. I was actually talking to somebody about that yesterday. They never even talked about that in the Pentecostal churches I grew up.
Their position on spiritual gifts is pretty weak, I think. But that's a whole other ball of wax.
Well, there are thousands of different topics to discuss in the world, and I have chosen this one dragon to slay of evolution.
Sure, and I wanted to ask you a question about that too, Ken, because the first 3 times that I called into your show, I chose to talk about the Bible. And by the end of the 3rd show, you told me that the Bible, well, you said specifically eschatology, was not your specialty and that you wanted to keep to creation and evolution, correct?
Well, that is, the program is about creation. It's called the Creation Science Hour and a Half. Yes.
Okay. Now, does that mean that the Bible is not open to criticism on your show?
Oh, no, the Bible is, but there are 31,000 verses in the Bible, and I can't be an expert on each topic. There are hundreds of topics discussed in the Bible, too. I don't know that I could quote the whole genealogy from Adam to Jesus either.
Thank God you can't.
Doesn't mean there isn't one. What's that?
I said, thank God you can't. That'd be kind of obnoxious to be able to do that.
Right.
But, okay, so I'm not allowed to criticize the Bible when I call in, or am I?
You are, but my point was, if somebody wants to criticize, like Farrell Till up in Illinois that I debated,
I know about that too.
He wants to do a debate on the accuracy of the Bible.
Sure.
I said, well, Farrell, I said, let's narrow it down to one topic. I can't spend that topic on all. We'll be back after the break. Hang in there. We'll discuss this in a minute.
Okay.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Creation Science Hour and a Half. This is Kent Hovind and Jonathan Sampson live, January 6th, D-Day 2004, and we're defending the Bible's position as being correct and the evolution theory as being dumb. And we have a caller who wanted to know about criticizing the Bible, and the answer is yes. However, because there are 31,000 verses, I ask that you keep the criticism of the Bible to verses related to creation, evolution, stuff like that, because I don't know that I could defend, what about this genealogy that has George in here and this one that doesn't? That's not my specialty. Does that make sense?
It does, but usually whenever you introduce the show, you say things like defending the position that the Bible is absolutely true and scientifically accurate.
That is correct.
Okay, if you're defending the view that the Bible is absolutely true and scientifically accurate, shouldn't people be able to attack it about its accuracy?
Well, if I defended the view that we had a fortress that was impenetrable and my job was the, electronic security of the fortress, but somebody else's job was the mechanical security of the fortress, I would defer you to somebody else to answer questions about, their specialty. So, no, my specialty is not, genealogies. My specialty is creation, evolution. That's the only reason. Yes, I do believe it's infallible. I don't believe there are any errors or mistakes, but I don't know that you couldn't come up with something that is outside my field of expertise that I would have to do some research on before I could find an answer.
Well, I don't understand how you can say that you're defending the stance that the Bible is absolutely true.
Okay.
In which way are you defending that position?
Well, I'm defending my piece of the wall. My piece of the wall is the creation part. It is correct.